Okay, we're rolling.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the How to Podcast series. That's the show. And I have somebody with me that I really admire. She's from where I live in Canada. And this person shows up everywhere in podcasting groups and as guests. She just brings light everywhere she goes and an amazing voice. And she can help us. So if you are wrestling as a new person on the mic and you're like, I record and I'm like, I don't know if I like what I hear. We're going to just kind of give you some basic things to consider and some encouragement today. That's kind of the goal. And we'll see where we go. So Jodi Krangle, welcome to How to Podcast. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Excellent.
Yeah, happy to help.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, you do a podcast, but your main thing is voiceover work and you do commercials and all kinds of stuff. I'm listening to all your samples on your website. You're all over the place. This is really amazing. It's like, is that the same Jodi? Like, it just sounds like almost like a little bit different version of you when I hear you on some of the ads.
Well, it totally is. And I think a lot of people who do podcasts wrestle with that a lot too, because when you hear yourself recorded, it's a different experience.
Right.
Your voice is much more objective than subjective when you hear it in recordings. So recording is what you actually sound like. What happens when they take my voice after a recording and then process it, like that's different. Yeah. So it really depends on what video they're using, where it's being heard, because it's going to sound different on television as opposed to radio, as opposed to online. They'll process. Sorry, yeah. I work with a lot of American clients, so I've trained myself not to. Yeah, so it's processed differently.
Right. I love it.
Yeah, and it depends on the venue that it's being listened in, and I think that a lot of us aren't used to the sound of our voices when we start podcasting. Right. And it's something that you need to give yourself grace for, because no one's perfect. They're not listening to your voice for the quality of it necessarily. They're listening to your tone, the things that you care about in your podcast, the things you're passionate about, because they will listen for the subject matter, but they will come back for the host.
Interesting.
So your voice is who you are. Just lean into it.
I was listening to a podcaster that I've seen and heard in public, like in real life. And when in real life, he's relaxed, he's calm, he jokes around, he's very entertaining. And then I listened to him as a guest on a podcast. And as soon as they flipped to him for the first question, he sounded like a completely different person. Like I had to look at the name on the podcast and go, that's not the same person. Like, I've talked to this person and we've had a conversation and they feel like they're almost being performative as a guest. And I'm like, is that dangerous? Is that like maybe a coping thing possibly for people to kind of say, I want to put my best forward, but I'm rushing. I'm talking too fast. I don't slow down. And the one thing that caught me was the host tried to interject and they're like, I'm not done talking. And they just kept going. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, so a little bit of coaching may help in this situation. And I know this is a little outside of what you do, but your skill and your knowledge about how you talk on the mic and how you present yourself, you have to kind of be a little bit of a chameleon yourself. But what if you go too far?
Yeah, it's a danger. It's what we call red light syndrome.
Record.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been doing voiceover now since 2007. So I guess that's 18 years. Wow. So you get used to certain things after a certain amount of time. I can lean into it now a little more than I could when I first started. And I'm still taking coaching. Don't get me wrong. I am still learning every day. In fact, right now I'm coaching with someone who I see every Wednesday morning. So, it's a constant learning experience. So no one's ever going to be perfect. But what I will say is that you do need to take a few breaths. You need to lean into your active listening. That's a tough one. And that's a tough one for people who interview as well. Because I see it from both sides. I've been on a lot of podcasts, but I'm also someone who has people on my podcast. And I need to ask questions that follow the conversation, but encourage a conversation.
Right.
And there's a delicate balance there, as you know, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of this is just experience. People are going to sound wooden and use filler words all over the place and speak too fast and all sorts of other things when they're first doing this. Mm-hmm. You get better as you go.
I was listening to an interview with Keith Urban last night, and he was talking about imposter syndrome a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's a big one.
He said that he sat down with one of his coaches, and the coach said to him, Keith, how much do you think people think about you? Like how often, how many times, that kind of thing, right? He's like, how many times do you think people think about you? He's like, oh, I don't know. He's like, probably not very often. He's like, what? I'm Keith Urban, right? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, that was kind of like a release for him to say, I don't really have to worry about what people think about me. I just do my thing. I show up. I do it for the love of why I'm doing it. If people love it, they love it. If they don't, they don't. But I don't have to worry so much about being accepted for my voice, my guitar, my singing, my songwriting. I could just be me. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We are the main character in our life, and we really don't. I mean, it sounds awful to say, but the people around us are in the peripheral, and then like you have your immediate circle, and then you have the circle outside that, and then you have the circle outside that, and that's most of the people that are going to hear you on a podcast.
Right. Right.
So you just got to give yourself some grace and say, I'm just going to do the best I can and have a good time. And if people don't like it, well, okay.
All right.
Move on.
What's a little bit of the Jodi Krangle secret sauce? Can you share anything with us about how you do your work? Like for all these voiceovers and things. Do you have a way that you approach this that you find unique when you talk to other people in your space?
I just try to relax.
Yeah.
That's really the toughest part. One of the things that you have to come to terms with when you do voiceover is that you are trying to sound natural in a very unnatural environment.
Right.
I mean, that's really what it is. I have a script in front of me. I sometimes have headphones on. I have my client's voice in my ears. I'm running equipment at the same time. I'm speaking to a blank wall. I mean, like, your mic is in front of your face. I mean, it's so unnatural. And you just have to be able to push that all aside and lean into the copy that you are speaking, because you shouldn't sound like you're reading. So you're putting yourself in a headspace where you are trying to be as natural as possible. Yeah. And yeah, it's very much a theater of the mind thing.
Right.
So yeah, just being relaxed and taking deep breaths and leaning into it and giving the words on the page the weight that they need. Because whether or not it's a product or service that I use myself, the person who wrote that script really cares about it. And I have to deliver that care the same way that they did when they wrote it.
Every word matters.
Oh, yeah. Every word matters.
You're not going to just kind of go off the cuff and, I'll make up my own version of this.
And it's funny, because often the copywriters are the people who are directing me when I'm in a session with a client. The person who wrote that script is actually directing me to the voice they heard in their head, which is perfect. Hey, tell me exactly what you want, and I'm going to give it to you. I love that part of it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Another part for me, I'm a musician and I've been in music studios and recording and stuff. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I heard from somebody at one point in my music background, they said, the beauty in music is found in the gaps between the notes. And I'm like, oh, I like that.
The white spaces.
Right. So you think of a band up on stage, they're just chugging along, everybody's having a great time, and then the bottom drops out. And it's just the drums. And everybody's like, what's going on here? Right? Everybody's kind of like looking around. And everybody immediately backed their attention back onto the stage. And then people start coming back in and adding back the layers, and we're back in the way we were. Those kind of things, or a hard stop. Like, pop.
Yeah.
Boom, they're back in again. You're like, oh, I love that, because you can tell they're like counting in their head, and everyone's like trying to, you got this, right? But I just love when people are in sync and
The
they put
pauses
that
are
stuff in
important.
there. There's a powerful pause. I like that.
Yeah. I'm a singer as well. So I've been
There you
in
go.
performances on stage and in recording studios. And and I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other part too, being in the studio, I remember we had our singer go through and she sang great. It was really good. It was almost like, well, that was great. Let's just go on, move on. And, from the booth, they pushed the little call back and they were like, okay, that was awesome. This time, do it again and smile.
Yes.
And the singer's like looking at him like, who's going to see me smile?
You can
We'll
hear it.
Hear your smile, right?
You can totally hear it. That is a lot of voice acting. Often a client will tell me to sound brighter. And that's what they mean. They mean adding smile in or a little more energy. That's, you can hear. So if I'm just speaking like this and I'm speaking like this, you can hear the difference.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because your muscles in your mouth kind of rise up. There's a little more. Your voice kind of changes a little bit. I love that. So, for podcasters, then, as you are new to being on the microphone, this is going to take a little bit of time to find your voice and develop it. It's not something that's going to come to you if you've never had training. So don't be too hard on yourself. I like listening to other podcasts and listening to how they do what they do and go, I like how they kind of drag that part just a little bit and then they came back in. Or I like that they came in happy at the beginning of the podcast. I'm like, I feel happy now, right? So the one thing I'm telling podcasters when I talk to them about interviews is, you as the host, if you come in high in an energy level and your guest comes in low, they'll come up a little bit to you. But if you go really low and they come in high, like, hey, it's Jodi Krangle, and they're going like, oh, whoa, I'm going to lower this down to you, as I don't want to be over you, right? So there's a lot of power in our voices and how we show up.
There really
right?
is. Yeah, especially if you're trying to get a guest to be a little more energetic.
Right.
Although, I mean, I'm going to be vulnerable here and say that I have been told that I laugh too often on my podcasts. Like, I have actually had someone criticize me for that. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not toning down laughter for you.
Right.
That's not happening. Right. So, I mean, you got to be you.
Yeah.
And you may develop you over time. I mean, my podcast is now, I think we're in our 6th year. So that's just me. If you don't like it, don't listen.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of other options out there. And
exactly.
Yeah. And I think, again, we get a little bit too tied up in the result. And then any kind of negative feedback is like, oh, you just start backing away, right? And the one thing I love is I've met with some people who can't pronounce things very well. They really struggle with, pronouncing their words, and they don't know what some words mean, and they just talk. They be them, and you're like, oh, it's just them. Right? It's just them. The one we lost in 2025, Todd Cochran, right? With his algorithm. I'm like, every time he said it, I just laughed, because then he would be corrected by Rob and he would just say it again, like the algo. And I'm like, oh,
funny.
I love it. I love it that he does that, and he does not care. And I'm like,
Todd was on the podcast here.
I know. I listened to that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, what
he
a
was
giant,
great.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. He really had a lot of interesting things to say.
Yeah.
I've had Rob on the podcast too.
Yeah.
So, and Dave Jackson as well.
There you go. You got some big hitters there. That's good. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, podcasting is one of those things that definitely is about sound.
Yeah.
So the whole podcasting industry has been fascinating to me from day one.
Yeah.
I mean, you start a podcast and you kind of learn by osmosis, but talking to the people who really have been in it for 20 plus years, that will give you an education.
It's a good legacy. There's a lot of knowledge there too, that somebody new coming into the space, they have no idea. Right? So it's nice to lean on those people who have kind of paved the way for us. So we do miss Todd for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see Rob's keeping the new media show going. That's awesome. But yeah, it's great. So what other kind of interactions did you have with Todd? Anything else besides having him on your show?
I met him a couple of times at Podfest.
Yeah.
We had some conversations. I brought a friend of mine named Fernando Pyers, who was selling something called, what was it called at the time? It's an audio interface that was for podcasters at the time, and he came as a guest of mine to the convention and met Todd, and Todd and him exchanged a lot of information. And I think Todd was talking about having him come to one of the big tech shows in the U.S. somewhere. I don't know what happened with that. That's between Fernando and whatever they discussed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw him a few times at Podfest, and it was always great to catch up. I mean, we weren't especially close, I wouldn't say, but he was always he had a lot of information to share, and was always the center of a lot of things.
Right.
And so it was always great to see what he had to say about things. Yeah. He would never mince words. That was definitely Todd.
No. You knew exactly how he stood.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And I loved that about him. He was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really fun. As we start the 2026, I'm hearing a lot of podcasts about podcasting, and they're talking about what they see coming in the new year. James Cridland did his with Sam Sethi about what's happening in 2026. If you had a little crystal ball or something you could look into the future, is there something that you wish for your own podcast that would be a reality?
Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, I know that I've had video on my podcast since about the 150th episode.
Good.
In fact, I think Todd was the very first one that I did in full.
There you go.
The full video. Yeah, it's hard to say what's on the agenda. It's disappointing to me that YouTube has, is it YouTube? I think it's YouTube, has started a podcast section.
Yeah.
And it's only available in the US.
Yeah, right. I know.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
That always gets James going on Pod News.
I don't blame him.
All the time.
Yeah. That's another person. James is someone I would love to have met in person. I have not yet met him in person. I would love to.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of circled around each other in the podcasting environment. But yeah. What would I wish for in 2026? I don't know. I think people's attention spans are just not what they used to be. It's really hard for anyone who has long form content to get any eyes on that or ears.
Right.
And yeah, like the whole shorts are kind of where it's at right now.
Yeah.
And that's where all the attention is going. And that disappoints me. It's hard to tell a story in 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
You can, I guess, but it's not exactly fulfilling.
Right. And the whole thing about find me wherever you find podcasts is kind of an open-ended statement, right? Because some people have a totally different opinion about what a podcast actually is. And you and I might not think of it in that context, but to them it does. That's what it is. I listened to your 30-second podcast. I loved it. Okay. Like, we reached somebody, but we didn't get the full message to them. So, you know, I don't know what the balance point is there.
It's tough. I am participating in Ask the Podcast Coach, I think, Dave's Saturday show. And I often hear him talking about the fact that a podcast is an RSS feed.
Right.
And that if it does not have an RSS feed, it is not a podcast.
Right. Yeah.
And I kind of don't blame him for that because that gives us control.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're relying on YouTube, you could get demonetized any second.
Yeah.
If you're relying on social media, you could get demonetized any second or just like disappeared off the face of the planet for whatever, right?
Right.
Especially now. So, it's something that I think we need to have control over. And that's why I like the whole RSS feed thing.
Yeah.
I know that Spotify actually has now started putting videos on their listings of podcasts.
Right.
But they take out your ads.
Yep.
And maybe put in their own. And I'm not participating in that.
No. Right.
So you won't see my videos on Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Spotify fan in the first place because I had here's ancient history. I had a songwriting website called The Muse's Muse that started in 1995 and went until about 2016. It was specifically a resource for songwriters, and I saw the whole Napster thing go down in real time.
Yeah.
And it has never recovered.
Yeah.
And never will.
No.
So now Spotify doesn't think music has any value at all. And that's the way the rest of the world treats music.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the ability for musicians to make a living from what they produce the ability for human beings to create music and be able to put a roof over their head
Right.
has been forever changed.
Yeah.
And that just pisses me off.
Right.
So I'm not a fan of Spotify.
Yeah, it's almost like they pushed you back into having a creative career as more of a side hustle. Like you should really
Oh,
go get
definitely.
a job because this is really not, you're not going to make any money with us. So
Yeah.
keep creating your content. We'll put it out there for free. Yeah. But go get a job. And I'm like, oh, that's not kind of how it works. Right.
No, it absolutely sucks. And I think that there are ways to get around that, but they are right now there are so many contortions you have to go through to do that it's hardly worth, spending your time to try and make a living at it. I think that actual live performances are kind of where it's at right now. In that you can monetize that. I think for podcasts as well, not just musicians.
Right.
I think you can monetize that in a way that, selling tickets and selling merch and whatever, in a way that you really can't yet do online, in a way that gives you enough money in your pocket.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's debatable, I guess, because, Ticketmaster is not exactly known for their being great either, but, sell your own tickets. I don't know. Is there a law against that? I have no idea.
Yeah. Right.
But there was a fellow on my podcast named Stephen Ridley, I believe. And he only recently started making recordings of his music. He's really well known in the UK. He's a worldwide performer. And he has a piano school. He teaches piano to people through it's called the Ridley Academy, I think. Yeah. Great guy. I loved that episode because he got really philosophical with me. It was so much fun talking to him. And he, like I said, he only started recently putting his stuff on a recording of any kind. The best way that you could actually experience his music was in live performance all over the world.
Yeah.
But because you could only experience his music in live performance, he had much more control over his own career.
Yeah.
And he'd been doing that from day one.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of musicians could take a lesson from that.
Yep. Yeah. And live is creeping into podcasting. And from a listener point of view, the only problem I have with live is I have to change my schedule. Like I work.
Yes.
Or I'm sleeping, or it's dinner time, or my wife's like, we're going out tonight. I'm like, but I want to watch Jodi Krangle live. Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of back to that appointment podcast listening versus you have to be there. Right. And you can always listen to it later, but you miss out on so much. Like I go to Dave's on Saturday too, whenever I can. And it's fun. Like the chat's going crazy and we're having our own show. And the other two guys, they have no idea what we're talking about. And it's fun. Like it's just like a whole community. And that's what we need. That's counter to push a button, get your content. This is humans interacting with humans and you can't replace that. So I see a big need for it. For me, it's just the only hurdle I have is my availability because of life. Right. So I have to be kind of choosy on which shows I can participate in live. But that's the only the only downside for me is that.
Yeah. And I think that Dave has a really good handle on that because they put their podcast together with barely any editing.
Yeah.
It's the real thing, right? You're getting exactly what people got when they turned up live to listen. So it makes it easier for editing and it makes it more of a community experience, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
But it does take some schedule massaging.
Yeah.
And I know this from, I used to do Clubhouse.
Oh, I did too.
Talks.
I did too, yeah.
I did that for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And we would talk about all sorts of things sound related, like podcasting and music and audio branding, of course, like, the advertising end of sound and all sorts of interesting things. We had a talk about the sounds in hospitals, the beeps in hospitals.
Yeah.
I had a fellow named Michael Schutz on my podcast who talked about, he's a percussionist from McGill, actually. And he talked about the fact that the beeps in hospitals are killing us because it's so stressful. Oh. And there are so many of them. Yeah. And they're alarming when they don't need to be alarming.
Right.
little by little, this is changing. But I mean, this was, 5 years back, whatever. And it was still a going concern. I think his mother-in-law called it a beeping hellscape.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
She was a nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To have that every day, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many interesting topics.
Right.
Anyway, but I had a clubhouse called The Power of Sound.
Yeah.
And we would talk about things, I think it was it was a Tuesday, I think. Was it Tuesday? Yeah. No, actually, it was Wednesday because my podcast would come out on the Wednesday morning. And so I would do it at Wednesday at around 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And just for an hour. And I did that for, like I said, 2-3 years.
Oh.
Slowing down little bits, but I'm not on Clubhouse anymore. I
right.
don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But, and I would often use those discussions as a recording for the podcast.
Interesting.
Yeah, there are several podcasts now in the list of podcast episodes that say in the Clubhouse.
Okay.
So
Nice.
if you see that's where they were recorded.
Okay.
Usually with a panel.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So how has the podcast had any impact for you for your career? Is this, you're doing this because you love it, or is there a tie between your podcast and what you do as a voice actor?
Definitely. There's a tie.
Yeah.
There's definitely a tie. I mean, there's a reason why I talk about the power of sound. It's
Right.
because I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
But really, the relationship that I get to have with my guests is really what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Because the people I talk to are so knowledgeable about the subject, and each of them has a different aspect that they talk about, and it's just thrilling to me. And some of them I have ended up working with. So
Good.
I'll take it. Yeah, it's fun.
Amazing. Good. So for podcasting, what kind of things have come your way because of your show? This is something Dave Jackson likes to do because of my podcast. But for you, what kind of opportunities or people have sent you a message or just encouragement that's come from a listener and you're like, oh, if I didn't have this show, this probably never would have happened for me.
Well, I was asked to be a jury for the International Sound Awards after Cornelius Ringe is his name. He's from Berlin, I believe. Oh, actually, might be Hamburg. He's in Germany. And we had a discussion because he has a audio branding company called We Sound in Hamburg and Berlin. They have two, I believe they have two outlets. And he was a great discussion. He and his colleague, and I'm blanking on his colleague's name right now. But we had a really great conversation. And after that, he invited me to be a jury member on the International Sound Awards. And for about 2 years, I was actually doing a moderated discussion with all of the other jury members as the moderator in order for us to all discuss the different entries and what we thought about them and that kind of thing. We haven't been able to do that for the last year, and I was just invited to participate as a jury member for the 4th year. So it was a while back that I had that discussion with Cornelius, and he's doing great so far as I know, and they're still doing the International Sound Awards, and they're just getting more and more out there and well known, and it's really been interesting. The things I've seen through that have been fantastic.
Nice. I like that. For the podcasting community too, then I'm just kind of curious about how you fit everything in, because you have to do your career. That's your thing, but you still have this podcast. We juggle a lot of things. We got to stay organized. You seem like a very organized person when I hear you talking. I'm like, oh yeah, she doesn't lose much stuff. So, what's kind of your little secret sauce, I guess, for that to kind of keep all these plates spinning at the same time?
Well, I'm lucky in that my podcast is kind of evergreen.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't have an evergreen podcast, it may be a little more difficult for them to stay ahead of things. But for me, I can do interviews in advance, and I also pay an editor. I pay a human show note writer.
Nice. That's good.
I do not use AI slop for that. That is very important. So on my website, I have a blog. And on the blog is where I put the show notes and a link to the player.
Yeah.
And so people can go to the blog and just listen to the player, or they can find it on wherever they listen to podcasts.
Right.
But because I pay a human editor, a human writer, that I think is a little better for SEO. Like it just kind of makes more sense
Yeah.
to another human.
Right.
I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
That's my thought on that matter.
Right.
But that does mean that there's money coming out, and I got to keep organized, as you say,
Right.
because I don't want to waste that.
Yeah.
So yeah, in advance we do a lot of things, and we schedule things out at least 4 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
So I have at least a month. Plus, right now, I'm actually on a break. So
Good.
right about now, I would usually be traveling. I am not traveling this year.
Yeah. Okay.
But even though I'm not, I like to take at least January, February, March,
Nice.
just to sort of relax, not do extra interviews. Normally, I wouldn't be even on a podcast at this point.
Wow.
So, yeah, like,
Winner.
I'm happy to be there here today with you. But I take a break,
Yeah.
and that keeps me sane.
Yeah. Right.
So that break allows me to back away a little, to reaffirm why I'm doing what I'm doing, to get the passion back,
Yeah.
to focus on my voiceover business.
Right.
Because I have a job and I need to keep doing it to keep a roof over my head.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. And it allows me to use what I already have in the can to promote.
Yeah. Right.
Because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, it works out, and I can pretty much juggle things that way.
I like it. The one thing I also noticed on your website, shout outs to Podmatch, and I see we can have you on our show. There's a spot for us to be on your show, all through your website, through Podmatch.
Yeah.
I love Podmatch and Alex and all the team there. They're just amazing. For somebody that wants to be a podcaster or a guest or an interviewer, any little 10-second plug for Alex and his amazing team that you would like to share?
Oh, I love Podmatch.
Yeah.
It's great if you are there to for both a podcaster and looking for guests, or for a guest who wants to be on podcasts. My one thing that I would tell people who are on there is to please research the podcast that you are reaching out to. I have passed on so many people who just did not even attempt to understand the title of my podcast. And it can get very annoying. I try to be kind.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, I would like to be as kind as possible. But if you've done absolutely no research, I'm just going to not even respond and pass.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, who has time like that?
Right. That's called coaching, and usually
Yeah.
people pay for that coaching. So,
Reading comprehension.
yeah, 101. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. You can make such great contacts over there.
Yeah.
So if you do your research and you reach out and you let people know what it is you can actually add to their podcast,
Right.
not in general, just to their podcast's topic.
Yeah.
Then you're likely to get someone very nicely responding,
Yeah.
even if you're not a great fit.
Right.
But at least you've done that thought process.
Right.
You've thought about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just do some research.
There you go. It's good advice. Jodi, talk about your website before we go. I've been on it today, loving it and listening to all your clips. But send people your way. Where do we go?
Thank you. It's at voiceoversandvocals.com. That is my voiceover business. And all the demos are there. And then if you go to the blog, that's where you'll find all of the episodes of the podcast. Or you can go to audiobrandingpodcast.com and you'll find everything for the podcast.
There you go. Super
Yeah.
simple. I like that. I can tell. You know what you're doing. That's great. Jodi, come back in the future if we ever get a chance. I'd love to have you back again. Just
I'd love
again,
to.
I really admire what you do and how you show up for the podcasting community. You do some things behind the scenes that people don't even know about. And that's the mark of somebody who really cares about this podcasting community. So thank you for all you do that is seen and unseen. And keep doing what you're doing. I'm really enjoying your show.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Everyone, all information is always in the show notes. You know how we do things. And I'd love for you to go and leave a review for Jodi's podcast. You know how we do all this stuff. And I'll go listen, and not only listen to the beginning, but listen to the entirety of our podcast, because that's a great signal to whoever you're listening that this is really good content. I'm staying. So definitely go check it out. Thank you so much, Jodi.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast all the way through to the end. I love having these great guest co-hosts on the show to share their podcast with you. You have some homework to do. And what I'm asking of you is to go check out our featured guest co-host today. Go over and listen to their podcast. The links are always in the show notes. And I'd love for you to go and give them your love and support. And I think if we can all do that for each other, podcasting will be a lot more fun for all of us. So it's time to do what you've asked others to do for you. It's time to do for this guest co-host. Links in the show notes. Go over and check out their show and leave them a review, do the follow, go listen to their episodes in full, the entirety of an episode, which again shows to the apps that it's a good podcast because you're going there and you're staying to the end. It's probably one of the best ways you can help a podcaster grow their audience and be shown to more people is by simply going and listening wherever you listen to the very end, like you're doing right now here. This is the perfect way to signal to wherever you're listening on, this is a podcast worth promoting. And all of the apps want you to stay on as long as possible. So go over and listen to our guest co-host episode and leave them some feedback. If they have a buy me a coffee, send them a coffee. If they have a speak pipe, send them a voice message. If they have an email, send them an email. If they're on Instagram, send them a direct message. Do something to support our guest co-hosts. They've given up their time to be here with you, to be here with me, and we can give that back to them with time and attention, our love, our support. Thank you for doing all that for me as well. Here on the How to Podcast series, we'll talk to you soon for our next episode.
Hey, you're still here. Awesome. This is a little bonus stuff at the end of the episode. I like to just have some time with you. Even when we have guests on the show, I still want to make connection with you. So now that we're past our 500th episode, we're adding these little bits at the end. Not everybody's going to hear it, and I'm okay with that. But those people that actually do stick with me to the end, this is just for you. So what is the question came to me was, Dave, what's one thing you wish you could do better on your podcast? And I'm like, one thing? I'll try to narrow it down. There's a ton of things I'd rather do better or with more purpose and intentionality. But I think the one thing that I would like to do better is how I promote my episodes. Now, this year, 2026, I'm doing 365 episodes in a year. So every day there's a new episode. For me to promote 365 episodes is a little overwhelming for my audience. And I know I could do better, especially for my guests. For my guests is my main thing. For my own show, I'm happy to promote. But for my guests' sake, I want to do that better in 2026. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that when I'm making this much content. But that would be my downfall. I think the proper promotion of my podcast for the sake of my guests primarily, that's my main focus there. But I think I could do better at that. And I think we should all be realistic about the things that we want to do better. Keep it front of mind, make a note, put a post-it note on your screen, on your computer, or on your phone. What's the one thing this year you want to do better? And put that in front of you, where you actually have to climb over it every day, and it's like front of mind for you. So for me, better promotion of my episodes. And if you go on my social media, you'll see I'm struggling in this area, and I want to do better. So that's mine. What's yours? Let me know at howtopodcast.ca. Take care.